Good morning, YouTube. It is a beautiful, lovely, rainy day here in the 702. I am your boy, Big Sin, and I am being joined today, as always, by my co-founder and co-host, Black. How you doing, familia?
It is a wonderful day here in sunny Central Florida, where the real national champions, or UCF, celebrated their victory yesterday at Disney World. And meanwhile, two random teams that so happen to play college football fought for a paper trophy.
Well, it's actually a metallic trophy, but we're not gonna get in the schematics here today, folks.
Well, no, because yesterday, I guess we have to go into our first topic, because yesterday we had ourselves something they called a championship game for the NCAA. Blah 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 blah.
If you watched the video last night, I dubbed it Toothless Aggression Bowl.
It was. That's all it was. It was just, like I said, the paper champions. The paper championship game, as it was. It didn't spoil. I'll tell you that much. It was exciting. At least the last half of the game was exciting, but you know.
Well, okay, so another championship game represented by a team in Georgia. Another championship choke represented by a team in Georgia. Damn, Georgia, what the fuck?
Well, here's the thing, right? I had so many problems with what happened. Let's start with the first and foremost thing. They blew a fucking lead again. Georgia. Didn't this happen? They lost to Auburn the same way. I think, if I remember correctly.
Auburn beat them 40-17.
Oh, okay. So they just blew their load. That's what happened in that game.
Yes.
But in all seriousness, ladies and gentlemen, I can't even explain to you or even fathom what happened to Georgia in this game. I came into the second half of this game. We talked about it. We were actually, me and Big Sin were talking as the first half was finishing. We're going into the second half, and I'm like, Georgia's up 13-0. And then they went up 16-0, or I think they went up 20-0. I have to look at the schematics of this game, because I don't know how the score ended up the way it was by the time I got back to the game, because I had things I had to do, because I've already celebrated the UCF's national championship win. This game was not important to me by any sense of the word. However, it was important to people in Georgia, apparently. And I need to elaborate. This was a home game, technically.
They're only like 80 miles from their home stadium.
Yeah, they play. I mean, this was technically a home game. They represented Georgia in the state of Georgia. I mean, this is about as a whole. Can you imagine a Super Bowl team playing their Super Bowl at the stadium that like at the stadium that they're actually at? This was where they play in the stadium, the Super Bowl this year in Texas, right? Houston, right?
Yeah.
So imagine like Houston, Texas were actually in the playoffs and had an opportunity to go to the Super Bowl in their hometown of Houston, in their own stadium. I mean, it's not the equivalent, but it's close. Georgia's very familiar with playing in Atlanta. Matter of fact, they won the ACC championship, the SEC championship in the same building this year.
Well, let's get into some stats real quick. Let's start with Georgia. Jake Fromm had a very Jake Fromm day. 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. The dude's not going to blow your mind with his stats ever. Alabama's defense held back under 150 yards yesterday, with Sony Michel only getting 98 and Nick Chubb only getting 25. No touchdowns besides Nicole Hardham scored a touchdown on a 9-yard run. But for Alabama, Jalen Hurts lost his starting job to Tua Tagovailoa, who went 14 of 24 for 166 with 3 touchdowns and 1 pick. Who the fuck is the Georgia? All I know is he's getting a lot of hick VJ when he gets back to campus today.
Oh yeah, the Hawaiian Samoan Tongan dude is getting all kinds of Southern poon today. He brought home the national championship, back to Alabama. All right, here's an interesting stat. Their running back Harris had 6 carries for 64 yards. He was averaging 10.7 yards a carry. Why? But although you can't say his longest carry was a 35-yarder, that means the other 5 carries he still averaged 7 yards a carry. And I mean, I'm looking at these stats. Like, I don't even know how Alabama won. When I'm looking,
you know how? Okay, I'm gonna we should just go right into the next topic since we're gonna end up, falling into it right now. So let's go ahead and switch up this overlay. And topic of the day is why are there so many blown leads? I will tell you why there are so many blown leads. In college football, it is because the coaches don't make their teams play for 60 minutes. The NFL, they only want to play for 45. You play for 60, guess what? You're going to win. NBA, you play for 40, 12, 24, 48 minutes, you're going to win. A lot of these teams rest on their laurels and in garbage time don't think the other team has what it takes to come back, but yet they do, and they end up shocking the system. To me, it's not shocking the system. To me, it's just bad practice habits.
Well, I say bad practice habits, and I add one more thing to it, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm trying to wrap my head around this. Like, Bill Belichick has never been afraid to step on somebody's neck, okay, in order to prove a point. Am I right?
I know where you're going with this, and I'm going to answer you right now what it is. People are too sensitive to getting blamed for running up the score. A guy like Bill Belichick is like, what's your fucking point? If they want to stop us, they should stop us.
Well, yeah, but see, it's a double-edged sword because then you say, oh, well, if we'll get it, people will be mad and all butthurt if we stomp their asses and stomp the mud hole dry, but they get all butthurt if somebody blows 28-3. Then you become the meme of the century, like Atlanta is still a year to this day.
And see now we're gonna have competing Falcon and Bulldog memes. 28-3, 13-0, and you both blew it to the same style of coach. That is the funniest part about this. Nick Saban is the college Bill Belichick.
But could Bill Belichick have done it with some dude named Tua Tagliaova?
He did it. He almost got to the playoffs with Matt Castle, so I'm going to say yes.
This was all bad. Like, there was no redeeming qualities whatsoever in this win. Alabama played really, really good defense. Jake Fromm had 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions.
So, did that surprise you that Alabama played really, really good defense? That's what they do. They play defense.
No, it doesn't surprise me. Well, I mean, I guess Alabama had to go back to the drawing board by not only losing to Auburn, but last year they had the score which ran up so high with between Clemson and Alabama. Nobody had any defense in last year's national championship game. But at least we could say that the 2 best teams in college football played last year in the NCAA championship.
Yeah, this year you had the 3 and 4 teams playing for the championship.
Yes. Asterisk.
That's because the 1 and 2 teams, Oklahoma decided to just completely shit the bed against Georgia.
Well, and that's also because the best team in the country, the UCF Golden Knights, weren't even invited to the playoffs.
Well, they got their parade yesterday. So,
you know who else got a parade over the weekend? The 0-16 Cleveland Browns. You don't see?
Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks.
Speaking of, did you see the parade, by the way, before we switch over to this next topic?
No, I did not.
There's a bunch of YouTube videos. I did have friends that were on my timeline that did share some videos from said parade. And we'll talk about that tonight on the show. I will try to see if I can get some pictures up from this parade. This was incredible stuff, sir.
Well, if you can get online a little bit before the show starts, we can see if we could do the other way. We're going to try and see if we can get some of these videos for people to see while we're streaming on YouTube.
Fair deal. We'll see what we can do about that. That seems like a logical plan.
I already pulled it up on the PS4. Our next topic. So we got NBA action last night. We had a good, healthy slate of games. And from the looks of things, not everything was so healthy in the scoring. With the Pacers defeating the Bucks by 13. Chris Middleton from Milwaukee led the team with 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. Domantas Sabonis for Indiana led the team with a double-double, having 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists. Indiana keeps on doing their thing. What's going on?
Indiana is a team. This is team ball, and you got to play a team game. The coaches got him right. Oladipo, is he in the stat line? Did he play last night?
Let me pull up real quick. The box score. Yes, I'm using my PS4 to give me all the scores because I left my tablet at work. It seems to run faster than the tablet did. So for the Bucks, all starters scored in double figures for the Bucks last night. But like I said, being led by Middleton, and the Greek Freak had 17, but he was only 3 for 8 from the field.
Well, that's not going to win you any games at all. Not when you get beat by 13.
As far as the Pacers, yes, it was a well-rounded scoring effort. Sabonis came off the bench with that 17. Oladipo, Turner, and Young all had 15, and Bogdanović and Collison had 11 for the startings.
Well, there you go. That's like I said. Pacers have been playing really good team ball. The Pacers, to me, are the most dangerous team. If they get a 4 seed or a 5 seed, bro, better watch out, man.
And the issue is with the Eastern Conference, they will more than likely get one of those.
Yeah,
Eastern Conference ain't really all that great.
That's true. I mean, shoot, we got struggling as it is. So,
next we'll move on to probably the best game of the night, which was the Toronto Raptors with a narrow 1-point victory over the Brooklyn Nets. DeMar DeRozan, 114-113 in overtime. DeMar DeRozan, 35 points, 3 rebounds, 6 assists. Spencer Dinwiddie, 31 points, 5 rebounds, and 8 assists for the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, there it is. And remember, when we last talked about the game before we left, Brooklyn was up by 1. So it must have been a little shot. They were up by 13-112. So Toronto must have came back right at the end with a little shotty shot and won that game. Now, we talked about Cleveland and Minnesota. We talked about Minnesota stomping them out because I guess Cleveland was resting their starters or he played them for half the game. Well, you can't play one of the best teams in the Western Conference and, only play half your starters because you need to test yourselves.
I want people to think about something when it comes to the standings right now for the NBA. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 26-14.
Yeah.
The Minnesota Timberwolves, who are not getting at all the same type of press that the Cavaliers get, are 26-16.
That tells you that tells you both of what's going on in the Eastern Conference, and it tells you the story of what Cleveland is not doing. I mean, it's all bad there. It's all bad there.
The Rockets stopped the Bulls yesterday.
Of course, the heartless Bulls. Chris Paul with the flop of the century. I got to get a photo of that tonight. I'll show that to everybody tonight. We got New Orleans beating Detroit 112-109. San Antonio beating Sacramento 107-100, and the Clippers edging out the Hawks 108-107.
And we also got this man's team, the Golden State Warriors, defeating the Denver Nuggets 124-114, being led by Steph Curry's 32 points, 4 rebounds, and 9 assists.
Steph Curry, baby. Durant is still out, so Steph Curry's taking the reins. It's funny is that as soon as we get Steph Curry back, Kevin Durant goes out with an injury. He's out for a couple weeks. Steph Curry's playing like monster. So,
we had the same thing happen last year when Kevin Durant got hurt. Steph Curry had to refine his game and actually come out and play because with the addition of Durant last year, Steph Curry, I guess, thought it was a good idea to take a back seat to the man and let the dude do what he wants. But let's both be real about things. The Golden State Warriors need Steph Curry to be Steph Curry and not be a backdoor person.
That's true. That is true. When it comes to playoff crunch time, you already see what Kevin Durant can do. Kevin Durant is the team, and Kevin Durant takes over when it comes to playoff time because Steph Curry turns into the distributor. Klay Thompson does his thing. Draymond Green is the glass cleaner, and we know that the bench is deep in Golden State. It's just is what it is, man. I mean, Golden State's still looking like a championship team, but Houston is creeping. That's
they're 33-8. I mean, they're probably going to lose more games than they lost last year, but it is what it is. We'll see how it goes. We know it'll more than likely be the Cavaliers and the fucking Warriors in the finals again. It's just destined to be a trilogy. So,
unless well, it already is a trilogy. We're up 2-1.
Okay, a quadrilogy. My bad.
A quadrilogy. Well, I mean, Boston looking legit. We keep talking about Boston. Nobody's sleep. Everybody, even with Kyrie Irving and the record that they have, the best record in the East, everybody's still sleeping on Boston because the story's about LeBron. And I don't know.
Okay, I believe in Boston when they actually don't get dominated in the playoffs by the Cavaliers.
Well, that's why Kyrie's there. So we'll see. We'll see, my friend.
All right, so next topic we are getting into, we will discuss the first playoff game for the NFL, and that will be the Atlanta Falcons visiting the Philadelphia Eagles. And I said Eagles, not Seagulls. I said Eagles, not Seagulls, because the Seagulls will poke at your head. Yes. The Eagles might not do.
No, and it's a huge problem, but it's a huge.
So, let me start off by saying this. For the first time in NFL playoff history, the number one seed and the home seed is the underdog, as the Falcons are a 3-point favorite in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, but are you surprised though?
Not at all.
Hold on, give me a second here, because you know what this game is going to come down to. It really, you know what this is going to come down to, and it's going to come down to one man. It's going to come down to Nick Foles, because the defense is good enough. You know this, I know this. You know, this is not something that needs to be stated over again. Their defense is legit. So
now you see, now the big question is, do you trust Nick Foles to win you a playoff game?
That's a rough.
Can he make the big throw?
That's a rough question. He's only been to the playoff once, and he went 23 for 33 for 195, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and that was a thing though too. I mean, that year he also went to the Pro Bowl. He did his thing. I mean,
yeah, that's that year he had that big year coming off of Michael Vick's injury, right?
Yep, that's correct. That's correct. I mean, Nick Foles knows how to play quarterback. It's not that he doesn't. So let's talk about this year, what he's done since becoming the quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles. So he's played in 3 games this year, the last 3 games of the season. He's went 2-1. He has a 56% completion rate. He averages the one problem is that he averages right now only 5.3 yards per attempt, but he does have 5 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. I mean, deeper into the stats, I guess. Let's take a look. I mean, he's 57 for 101. But they had an extra week now. They have essentially they have 2 weeks to prepare. Essentially, almost 3 weeks if you do the math on it.
Because let's stop bullshit people here. If the Eagles are going to win this game, the Garrett Blount and JJ Ajayi are going to have big games.
Yes, but that's keeping the run honest. I mean, the whole thing is that they're gonna stack it the line. I mean, the Falcons can do it. They have the speed on defense to do it. The key is have we ever remember how we always talk about the West Coast offense, and I always say that the pass has to be able to set up the run. This is no different with Doug Peterson's style of West Coast offense because he's a prodigy under Andy Reid. Can
not to be mistaken with Doug Peterman, who had a playoff moment and threw an interception.
And basically almost threw two if they hadn't called the one back. But, back to back. He threw them picks back to back. But anyway, on a serious note, we have Nick Foles. He's basically playing for the future. I mean, not only that, he's playing for the future for himself, the playoff future for the Philadelphia Eagles, and things just might not turn out the way that he wants them to. The Falcons are motivated. The Falcons have been a team longer. The Falcons are legit. Especially motivated by the 28-3 loss. Probably not as motivated as Tom Brady is about this whole scandal thing, but still motivated nonetheless.
I gotta say something.
Yeah.
As of this point in time, right now, unless convinced otherwise, I think Georgia has a curse on it. I think Ray Charles, that song, Georgia, Georgia, was the last good thing to come out of Georgia because the Braves are garbage.
Damn.
What?
Damn.
What?
I'm not disagreeing. What about ATO rap, sir? Outcast, okay?
Okay, Outcast hasn't been relevant since 2001. The same time the Falcons were relevant.
That's because that was the last time they put out an album. Well, maybe 2003. But still, that's not the point, Phil. The point is...
Georgia, where our sports teams are cursed.
Georgia's won a national championship in the last 15 years, maybe. Probably. Sort of. I have to do the research, okay? I'm pretty sure they have. But that's neither here nor there. The point is...
But Georgia teams have also blown a 28-3 lead and a 13-0 lead, both in championship games.
Well, I tell you who I don't want to be. I don't want to be the Falcons having to play either the New Orleans Saints or the Minnesota Vikings. That's who I don't want to be. Because ain't no way they're getting out of that one. Because my whole thing is that even if they make it out of Philadelphia, which they may, but we'll talk about that later, when it comes down to the predictions, I don't think they're making it out either New Orleans or Minnesota. It's not going to happen. It just is what it is. Just the Falcons should just pack their bags now, give another team a chance and see what happens.
All right, so the keys to this game, for me, the Philadelphia Eagles running attack, Nick Foles limiting turnovers. The Atlanta Falcons, please, if you want to win this game, get Julio Jones involved in the offense. Because if you don't, it's going to be a long day for Mr. Matty Ice.
Yeah, it's going to be a long day. That Philadelphia defense is no joke. Doug Peterson has offensive schemes. I mean, he's functional. He's made Nick Foles functional. So,
okay, I'll say it. Matty Meltdown.
Matty Meltdown. Can you imagine Matt Ryan with under Doug Peterson? That would be legit.
Yeah, it would. So now let's get we have something creeping in the background.
A little music can't help.
So, Mr. Black, this early morning edition of Ovatyme has come to a nice end. What do you got to say to the people while the seagulls are poking at people's heads?
Well, the seagulls are poking at people's heads, but the Seahawks aren't in the playoffs. But on the
seagulls are more relevant than the Seahawks at this present point in time.
That's right, because the Seahawks are sitting on the couch. They're with us. They're watching it just like we are. So, with that said, I want to thank everybody for watching Sinful Black Entertainment, watching the Ovatyme Sports Show. If you like what you see and you're entertained by the antics and the news that we bring to you on a daily basis, what I'd like you to go ahead and do is hit that subscribe button. I want you to point it to the left, and then point it down, and then hit that subscribe button. Once you hit that subscribe button, you're going to see the very best that Sinful Black Entertainment has to offer, including what we now our video game backlog challenge. Most of the night, I'm gonna go in the game with Bruce. I'm gonna challenge them fools too. We know you got games that you want to play, so let's go ahead and play them. So Also, make sure you follow us on Facebook. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, so you stay in tune with what we're doing. Now, if those kind of social media isn't for you, Mr. Sin is going to let you know exactly what to do to make sure that you know exactly when we're live on YouTube.
All righty then. So when we are live on YouTube, if you're watching this live, then you have no issues. Just hit the subscribe button like Mr. Black told you. If you're watching this after the fact, which I know a lot of people do, you see our little demons down there in the corner, go ahead and highlight them. If that button is red, take their asses off the hot seat, because guess what? Even though this shit is lit in fire, their asses don't need to be burning. Anyway. Also, you click that bell icon, join our notification squad so you know when we are live and online, or when videos are posted. Now, you may have noticed the Try Not to Laugh challenges. Yes, they are pre-recorded, but guess what? There's still no edits in them.
Yep.
I just don't have time to edit.
Nope, we don't do that editing bullshit around here.
So with that being said, I want to thank you all. With the Ovatyme Sports Show, we are keeping our word, having videos every day of this new year. Even on the weekends, they're not live blogs. They are gaming videos, but they are there. So we'll see you tonight. We might have a different style of look tonight. Maybe some advancements in the way we do things around here. But I guarantee you, we're still going to have as much fun as we've been having since we started this show last week.
Of course, because ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. So
it ain't no fun if the homies can't have none. Anyway, with that being said, let's get the music going again. This has been Sinful Black Entertainment. This is Ovatyme Sports signing off for this morning. Got anything left, Mr. Black?
No, that's it. We'll see you tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. West Coast Pacific, and everything else in between. That it.
Just keep the smiles on your face. Keep the energy going, because we need it. We'll see you guys soon. Deuces.
Taco Tuesday.
Del Taco. Taco Tuesday. 3 value tacos for 99 cents.
Woo!